All right, so what you're looking at here, guys, is your final summative assessment on your ability to do various reaction-based skills. All right, this one is coming in for marks. The good news is you will have all of class today to work on it. All right, so by the time I get done explaining everything, that's like 80 minutes. You should get a very, very good start on this thing. Like, I mean, 2/3 of it should really be done. All right. Now, I want to explain a couple things. I want you to write a couple of things on here because I want you to get as many marks, obviously, as possible on this. Okay. But there's places where people lose marks needlessly quite often on this assignment. Okay, and it's, like I said, it's quite needless that they lose them. Okay. First thing, it's broken up into 3 sections. Okay, each of the 3 sections of 10 questions is a little bit different than the others. All right, in this first section that you're looking at right here, okay, for the following questions, balance the equation. All right, so that's one of the things you're doing. That's 1 mark. Okay, 1 mark for each question. Okay, is balancing the equation. Okay, write it in words. 2 marks. All right, so you're going to balance in the blanks. Put 1s if it's a 1 because it's fill in the blank, and I want to know whether you knew how to do it, okay, or if you just left it blank. So make sure you put fill in all the blanks, and then write it out in words underneath. Okay, so when you're done, it should look like this, right? Reactant 1 plus reactant 2, okay, gives product 1, okay, plus product 2, or whatever. I mean, I'm not writing all the names in here because this is coming in for marks. Okay, so that's what it should look like. When you're done this, you'll have numbers in the blanks and you'll have the reaction written in words underneath. What do you suppose people forget to do on this section? Oh, you don't have to do that for this one. Okay, on this one, you're just balancing the equation and writing it in words. This is the part that people forget to do. They forget to write it in words. They just balance 10 questions. Okay, how many marks did they just lose? 20. Okay, 2 marks for each question to write it out in words. If you forget to do that, 20 of 90 marks down the toilet. Okay, please remember to write the reaction in words. I would hate for anyone to lose 20 marks because they simply forgot to do something I've now told you 3 times to do. Okay, everybody with me there? Balance it, write it in words for the first 10 questions. All right. For your second set of 10 questions, different, okay? It's asking you to do a different thing. It's giving you the reaction in words. So now you're going to, okay, identify the type of reaction. 1 mark. That's a pretty easy mark. That's the thing people forget to do on this set of 10 questions. The easiest of the marks, okay? And that's the part people forget to do. So be sure you write the type of reaction, single replacement, double replacement, whatever it happens to be. Okay, write that down right away. Get that mark. You forget to do that, it's 10 marks. Okay, it's crazy. We don't want to lose those 10 marks. Okay, so write the type of reaction. Okay, and then write a balanced chemical reaction. So balancing is 1 mark. The chemical reaction itself is 1 mark. Okay. So you write out products and reactants, okay, write them all out in formula form, okay, so it looks like the first 10 questions looked, okay, balanced out with the reaction type beside it. Okay, everybody with me there? Now here's the thing, you got to be really careful on this set of 10 questions because if you don't if you don't like swap and drop something or you get a formula wrong, will you get the balancing right? No. Okay, so you got to be really mindful of that. Make sure you double check your formulas and your swapping and dropping because if you get those wrong, you're going to lose 2 marks on that question because you won't get the balancing right either. Okay, it's one of those kind of catch-22 kind of things. Okay, got to make sure you do all of that stuff the right way. All right, so that's for questions 11 to 20. Okay, for the last 10 questions, so question 21 to 30, okay, all you're doing, okay, you predict the products of the reaction and balance it. Okay, so predicting the products, 2 marks. Balancing, 1 mark. Okay, you do not need to write the type of reaction for these. Okay, simply write the products out. Okay, so write the products out right here. Okay, and then balance the entire reaction. All right, you'll notice I did not give you very much room in between. You don't need to write this out in words. Okay, all you're doing is predicting the products and balancing the reaction. Everybody with me there? All right, so I want to make sure everyone gets as many marks as possible there. Now, a couple of questions specifically to mention here. You got two on the in the first 10 here that are a little bit tricky balancing wise. Okay, they're not hard to write out the name. Okay, but you do have to be mindful of a couple of things on the balancing of number 4 and the balancing for number 7. Okay. Now, for number 4, okay, be mindful that oxygen, which starts out only here, ends up in all 3 of the products. Okay, it should be balanced last as a result. Okay, we always balance oxygen last. If you try and balance it first, it's just going to mess you up. Okay, so pick something else to balance first. And the big thing here is you need to have the same amount of oxygens here as you have on this side. Okay, so it's reactants and products, which, okay, make sure you get it balanced. Okay, it's a little bit tricky in that regard. I would say, as a hint here, the thing to look at balancing first is nitrogen. Okay, and then for number 7, similar idea. Okay, you've got this ionic compound here, and then when it breaks down, you see that the hydrogens that were in this compound split up. Okay, you go from having NH4 to having NH3. You have to track where that other hydrogen went, okay, and make sure that you keep them all balanced, okay, from one side to the other. Again, suggestion, nitrogen first. Okay, other tips here for the first little bit, make sure you follow your naming rules. Okay, look at whether something is ionic or molecular and apply the correct naming rules. All right, otherwise you're going to lose marks needlessly on the naming part, okay, where you're writing out the reaction in words. Okay, so that's the tips I'll give you for the first 10. Okay, second 10. Okay, again, make sure when you look at this and you're writing it out in formula form, okay, that you check for special elements. Okay, and what I mean by that are the ones that come as 2s or 4s or 8s. Okay, make sure you look for those because that is probably the place where people lose marks on that section. Okay, when they're doing the writing out of the reaction, they forget that something is a special element when it's by itself, and as a result they don't get the balancing right either. Okay, so be aware that you may end up with some things that are special elements. Like that one. That's only one example. There are more. Okay, so be mindful of those. Okay, and again, be mindful of what your Roman numerals mean. Okay, remember that Roman numerals tell you what charge to use in the swap and drop. They do not indicate how many of that thing there are. Okay. Right, and then in the last one. Okay, not much to tell you hint-wise here, except that in question 22, there are 2 possible answers. Both will be marked correctly. Okay, there's actually 2 ways you could go about doing that question. And that's about it. That's about all the hints you need for the last 10. Okay, are there any questions on this stuff here? Okay, because I want you to have this to prepare for your unit exam, I am going to want it handed in to me by this Thursday. Okay, you've got all class period today to work on it, so you should be able to get a lot of it done today in class. Okay, but I do want it by this Thursday, okay, so that I can get it marked and back to you quickly so you can use it to study for your exam, which is obviously March 18th. That is coming right up. Malcolm, question? When you're done, put it in the hand-in box. This one obviously is not being submitted on Google Drive. You have physical paper that you are writing on for this one, so it'll be one of the few things you hand in to me in physical form. All right, so it goes in the box when you are done. Okay? Any other questions on that one? All right, let's get to it then. If you have questions, you can ask. Just be mindful that this is an assignment that's coming in for marks. It's an assessment. I'm not going to be I'll be a little cryptic in my answers, okay? I'm not going to tell you if you did it right, okay? I'm not going to, if you come up and ask me how do I do this one, I'm not going to give you much of a hint because this is supposed to tell me how well you know how to do this, not how well I know how to do it. All right? Don't be afraid to ask. Just understand I'm not going to give you the answer. Okay? All right.